Hello and welcome to our second Karajan Music Tech Backstage Sessions live stream. My name is Matthias Röder. I'm the CEO of the Karajan Institute in Salzburg. And with me today, I have my colleagues Julia Binek and Thomas Richter. Hello, you two.
Hello.
How are you doing today? Julia, you're in the Institute?
Yes, exactly. Same as last time. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm at home. I'm trying out my new black and white filter on the camera, so I hope people like that. Thomas, where are you at?
I'm at a hotel where I'm using it as a co-working space, so it's legal.
Wonderful. That's great. Today we have a really interesting program, I think. I hope you will like it. We are doing these live streams to really give people a little bit of a teaser of the upcoming Karajan Music Tech Conference, but also to introduce some really interesting musicians, entrepreneurs, and decision makers from the music and tech space. So we'll be online for roughly an hour. We have interviews that we pre-produced. We have some news from the music and tech scene, and we will probably be doing a little surprise for the Mardi Gras Tuesday / Carnival that is happening right now, or should be happening worldwide, and isn't because of COVID-19. So welcome to our backstage session number 2. Yes, so Julia, Thomas, where do we start now? What is our plan?
I've got a question for you. Is there a way to register for the conference? Do you know that?
I think there is a way to register for the conference. And, I think a really good place to do that might be our website, which is www.karajanmusictech.com.
Yes.
And, everyone should really hurry up and do that right now, because we will be, limiting the space. It's an online conference. We need to save bandwidth. No, just kidding. But it is a conference where you can participate, and where you can also tell us if you have something interesting to say and would like to apply as a speaker for the conference. So we want to hear from you, from our community, and we are looking forward to meeting you March 22nd to 26th. Thomas, now you have put me on the spot. I will put you on the spot now. Tell us a little bit about what the program holds for us next.
This year we will focus on building communities. So we've seen during the last years, but especially during this COVID year, that people have to put their audiences online, and they are gathering their following around them. They are building new ways to stream their concerts online. We want to discuss these steps they have taken and see what the future holds in, forgot the word in English, but what it has to offer.
Yes, what it has to offer. No, what it holds. It's perfect. Great. Now, first of all, I want to say, everyone who's out there watching on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, we have a brand new Twitch channel. If you write a comment with a question, we can see this here on the screen, and we can interact with you this way. So don't feel shy. If you have questions or comments, do let us know. I see our friend William Carbone, who says hello there with some musical notes. So hi, William. It's good to have you on board. And with that, I want to go to our first program point today. We are really fortunate to have Talia Petrosian as our guest. Talia has been a member of our community and a speaker at previous conferences for many years now. She is an incredibly interesting and active young musician, arts manager, and just all around a great person. And she is currently in Australia. And because that is in the middle of the night right now over there, we pre-produced a little video for you in which Talia tells us about her new project, which is called Resonate, and of which we are a proud partner in the Karajan Music Tech Conference and Karajan Institute. So please roll the interview with Talia that we produced today in the morning. Hi, Talia. It's great to have you on the show.
Hi, Matthias. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Yes, it's great to talk to you. We're doing this pre-recorded because you are where right now?
Well, I'm in Sydney, Australia so I'm from Sydney originally, but normally, of course, I'm in Germany where I'm based. So
yeah. Talia, we met a couple of years ago in 2016 when you were working on a really interesting project, Classic Underground. I like to tell the story to our audience because we almost did not meet because your emails ended up in my spam folder. But then one day, what happened?
Well, as per usual, I kind of tracked you down, and I was with Gewandhaus Orchestra, where I'm a viola player, obviously, and we were on tour in Salzburg because we were playing at Salzburg Festival, and I thought to myself, I never got a reply from that guy. What was his name? Matthias or something at the Karajan Institute. So rude. So I just walked over your building and started knocking on the door, and you happened to be there. And I introduced myself, and we sat down and had a really nice conversation, and then you went back to your spam folder and pulled out my emails.
Yes, exactly. So the lesson learned is always make sure that you do follow up in person, telephone, right. Actually knocking the door of people. So I'm so happy that you did follow up because, what I then learned was that you had this amazing project back then, Classic Underground, that we featured at the Karajan Music Tech Conference. Because, our conference is really all about helping visionaries such as you to, achieve their dreams and really, bring them together with people that could be helpful and be a platform for those who want to move music forward. So I'm really glad.
It's been fantastic. And of course, your support for Classic Underground has now led us also to, this new project that we're working on as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you are here today to talk a little bit about that project. It's called Resonate. And what you do there is you bring together musicians who perform and then visual artists who respond to the music in real time and create an artwork. How did you have that idea? Why did you start in that direction?
Well, with the initial series, Classic Underground, which is how we first met, that was a series that involved presenting kind of after shows in an underground venue in Leipzig, bringing together musicians of the Gewandhaus Orchestra with soloists who were performing with the orchestra. And then there was a tie with that format to social media because we produced a lot of clips, and that was, trying to show classical music in a different way across social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And that became very well known. And then now that, we were hit with the pandemic, I began thinking about, well, what we really need to develop is an online concert format that's specifically designed for an online audience, because I know many orchestras and many artists responded to the pandemic very quickly by live streaming performances, which was a great initiative. But I thought what we really needed to do was think of ways to create something that was really specifically designed as an online format. So the idea was to have a very strong visual component together with classical music. And the best way to do this was to involve artists who are working in visual art. That's not necessarily painting. It can be mixed media, it can be all of these types of things. But to collaborate with them so that our online audience gets to experience the creative process close up, because they are responding visually to the live music performance, which is again performed by musicians of the Gewandhaus Orchestra. And in addition, we have this extra layer, which is to say, okay, when we stream the concerts, it's not a live stream because we want our performers and the artists and the musicians to be online during the stream, so that the audience, our online audience, can actually write in during the chat, like during the concert stream, through a chat, and actually ask questions about what's going on, like what is this artist doing, why are you responding visually to the music that way, and so they can actually interact and ask questions directly with the performers during the concert stream.
So this is the part where you say it's a specific online type of format, because the people who are actually creating the art, they are then online with the audience and they can interact. I envision it a little bit like when I watch, these great movies, and there's like a conversation between the director and the I don't know, set designer, and you can listen to them talk while you see the film on screen. Is that going to be like this a little bit?
It's a little bit like that, but what I think is it's a little bit different though, because we have this interaction. So it would be like, if you were watching a film and you had this dialogue between the director and, the screen director or whatever, that you could actually even type in and say, well, I've got a question, why are you doing that? Because what we want to do is we want to use the internet as an interactive medium. I think that is something that we really need to start experimenting with. So this format is really the first step to saying, okay, let's look at the internet as being a visual medium, which means that let's try and have more activity rather than just streaming a normal concert. And that's where the visual art comes in. And saying also, okay, let's try and use the internet as an interactive medium, like instead of just like as a television.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the first step. And as the technology develops and as different ideas come in, we'll also change what we're doing. But I really think that we need to really take a risk and say, okay, let's try and present classical music in a different way and see what happens.
It reminds me a little bit what you say of the early days of television, when you had, essentially a radio moderator in front of a camera reading the news. That wasn't really making, use of the full potential of television. And, filming a live concert and just bringing that on a internet platform, to me, is a little bit like that too. So you need to have the interactivity. You need to have something that is inherently there in the new medium to use the full potential of it.
Absolutely. I think this is one of the biggest challenges for the performing arts, because the performing arts is also a collective experience. When you go to the theater or you go to the opera, you're in an audience, and it's part of the attraction of going to the live event is that you're in a collective. It's not, for example, when you go to a museum or a gallery, you're still very much in control of your individual experience. So the translation of a gallery or museum experience to the internet is a little bit easier than when it translating the collective experience that is the defining feature of the performing arts to the internet. So this idea of interaction is also very important, because people can see what other people are writing in and saying, what are you doing? What's going on? And people can even interact not only with the artists and the performers, but also with the other members of the audience and say, why are you asking that ridiculous question, for example? So this idea of trying to create a collective to have the same kind of vibe or a similar vibe to when you go to the live event, I think is also very important, because that is really a big thing in the performing arts, this idea of that it's a collective experience, and somehow we have to at least address that when we try and then present the performing arts online.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the partners you have, because you, like in Classical Underground, you're working together with the Moritzbastei, which is this fabulous place in Leipzig, near the Gewandhaus, really. Those of you who have been to Leipzig should check it out. This is an ongoing partnership with Moritzbastei, am I correct?
That's correct. I mean, the Classic Underground is presented in the Moritzbastei. So just to explain, the Gewandhaus is obviously this very traditional concert hall, but right next door to it in Leipzig is this amazing underground venue, which is actually, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better venue. It's actually, you can't even see it from above. You have to go down, and then it's actually the ancient city walls of Leipzig, and you go under there, and it's this huge, lovely stone complex. It has great acoustic for acoustic instruments, so it works really well for all of the classical music that Gewandhaus presents. But it's a really alternative space as well. It's architecturally very interesting, and so that's how Classic Underground is presented there. And also Resonate is filmed there, because it's such an interesting space that really lends itself to new ideas of how to present classical music. It's not a concert hall. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, I'm laughing because, you know, when I was a student and I did my internship at the Bach Archive many years ago, we would celebrate the wildest parties in Moritzbad. So
Yeah.
there's that to it too. You know, I think it's a great venue also because it puts classical music in front of a different kind of audience. And I'm not saying, you know, it's sort of old versus young, or, you know, sort of conservative versus progressive. It's just a different context, and that makes everything fresh. And so, yeah, I wish you a lot of luck with the series. I really want to mention also two other things. Three other things. You're working together with both the Goethe Institute, and also you're working together, and I need to look at this in my notes, Leipzig International Art Program. Tell us a little bit about, you know, the artistic side of this. Where do the artists come from, and who are they?
Right. Well, for our first show, we have Harit Srikal, who is an artist from Thailand, and he is currently in Leipzig completing a residency as part of the Leipzig International Artists Program. So what they do is they bring out artists from all around the world and bring them to Leipzig, and these artists do a residency in Leipzig, and they are our partner. They are bringing, you know, that's where we're getting our visual artists, and, you know, that's how the cooperation really runs with them together, because they had a lot of interest in doing this, because it's a great experience for artists to work with classical music, and also to work with musicians from the Gewandhaus Orchestra. I mean, this is it has a huge tradition. And we are doing I mean, we're not doing crossover or anything like that. We're sticking very much within our musical language. So, for example, the first concert is a program of Debussy, Ravel, Stravinsky. And so the artists are international artists. I think this is also very important, that we also have this almost a cultural exchange, that there is intersection point between the oldest orchestra in the world, Gewandhaus Orchestra, with this huge tradition, and young international artists who are coming to Leipzig to complete a residency. So this point of intersection is also very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is also about community building, really. You're bringing people together who otherwise would have not worked together, would have not known each other. And hopefully they will stay together in a collaborative form for the years to come. It reminds me a little bit about how you also met your technical partner, Symmetrica TV, because, you know, we have this internal alumni happy hour going every 2 weeks of the Karajan Music Tech Conference, where we invite former speakers, you know, people who are friends of the community. And you were pitching this idea in our open mic, and then Alex Olenyevitz immediately raised his hand, like, I love the idea. I'm going to give you my technology for free.
I know. I know, it was wonderful, and, you know, this wouldn't have come about without this happy hour that the Karajan Institute puts together. And, you know, it was great because obviously I knew Alex, because we'd both been at the Karajan Music Tech Conference a couple of years ago. We hadn't stayed in contact, and we suddenly found ourselves both at this happy hour where I was talking about this proposal, and then, as you said, Alex jumped in and said, yes, you know, we want to be part of this. And it's just, you know, all the pieces really came together. The Goethe Institute got on board, you know, and also we're streaming across your platforms, the Karajan Institute platform. So it's also a great collaboration with you. And we have Symmetrica, who's doing the technology, and a lot of partners coming together to experiment. And I think this is really interesting, because I think we really have to take risks now, because the corona pandemic has really, it's moved us forward about 2 decades in the space of a year, basically, in terms of how we should be looking at using the internet. Because, you know, there's going to be AI, there's going to be all of these things that come in, and we have to carve out a place in the digital world for arts and culture, and particularly for the performing arts. And this is a very big challenge, but we have to get started, and we have to start.
And that's what we will be doing with Resonate on March 7th at 1400 Central European Time. That's 2 p.m. in Europe. and you'll find, your time zone on the internet, I'm sure. So we're really happy about this collaboration. We're going to talk to you again after, the first performance is done, and then at the conference. So everyone who wants to be in touch with Talia, who wants to learn more about the project, tune in, and also, sign up for free for our conference, of course, March 22nd to 26th. So we'll be happy to then discuss the results and the learnings and, what went well, what didn't went well, and have Talia again. So thank you very much, Talia.
Thank you, Matthias. Thank you very much.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
So that was the interview.
Isn't the conference a great matchmaking tool?
Say that again, Thomas.
Sorry, isn't the conference a great matchmaking tool?
That's right.
Well, the term might be too technical, but it's a group of great people, I think.
I want to say hello to South Africa, to Van der Berg, and hello to Brazil, hello to Argentina, hello to Mexico. We have people watching us around the world. That's amazing.
One person said good night because she is in Japan. It's 1:15 night, so our dearest fans.
Yes. No, that was really interesting, the interview, how she managing it.
Yeah, she has a lot of power and really great ideas, and so I think it's our goal at the Karajan Institute to support these kinds of initiatives as much as we can, and if it helps to bring more people to classical music, then I think it's a worthwhile endeavor. So we're really looking forward to having the world premiere of Resonate in March, early March, on the Karajan channels. You will all get notified via social media, but also if you sign up for our newsletter, which I highly recommend. We also got some really interesting comments there, and I know, Thomas, I think you wanted to show one of them in particular.
By Legacy Film, he or she said, democratize classical concert for everyone on the internet, and you will have live audiences like never before in the 21st century. I like that.
Yeah.
How many people might have seen a concert, I don't know, before 1992, and how many have seen it now? We will also show some initiatives later, but I think maybe just 1 billion people got to know of classical music before the internet, and now it's like 3 billion.
Yeah, these numbers are hard to come by. I remember that when Herbert von Karajan was working on his own music films, he would talk to a journalist about how he believes that, within 10 years, orchestras will be projected in real life size in everyone's home, and via technology and satellites, you would reach millions of people with one concert rather than the 1,000 who are in the concert hall. I mean, that's the kind of visionary that he was, and I think it took longer than 10 years, and I think this is still not the norm that you reach 1 million people, but he definitely foresaw the future.
For sure, yes.
Thomas.
Big fan of Super Bowl, already big fan.
Yes, that's right. That different kind of classical music. Thomas, you come up every week or every second week with the news in music technology, and we thought that for the live stream you would present a few excerpts so that we can take a look what's going on. Do you want to get started?
Yeah, welcome to the first episode of Karajan Music Tech Trends. And the first thing we have prepared, and I would like Nikolai to start the machines.
This is Woodkid.
Something.
I'm in France right now, but in a few seconds I will be performing in Germany on the set of Magazine Royale.
Eine paneuropäische Pandemie-Performance, jetzt Hightech-mäßig. You're about to see something never done before on television. Das Rundfunktanzorchester Ehrenfeld in Deutschland, zusammen auf einer Bühne mit einem 4D-Hologramm von Woodkid, der aber gerade in Frankreich ist. Meine Damen und Herren, Woodkid und Highway 27.
Well, I'm muted it for the most part of it, so we don't get a copyright strike. But what you can see here, it will be explained later. He got filmed actually, photographed from different angles. So basically, DSLR cameras from every angle.
And the waving dance of a Mai magic tree.
Okay, so this is like a VR performance, then a hologram.
So to say, yeah, but it's not visible in the studio, but it's visible for us.
Woodkid
And you will see.
und Highway 27.
Wir hatten halt für vorherige Produktionen schon AR-Elemente im Studio und deswegen schon mal das Studio und Kameras für AR vermessen. Und
mit einem Haufen von Kameras in 360 Grad mit Einzelbildern aufgenommen. Dieses 3D-Modell bringen wir wiederum in eine Spiele-Engine ein, bearbeiten es da, setzen Lichter, animieren Lichter, so dass es dann eins wird mit der Inszenierung im Studio. Und
So it's basically a 3D rendering of his image from as many angles as possible, and they are using a game engine to put it into the studio. And they are synchronizing the light of the studio with this game engine. So when they are having the red light or the blue light in the studio, it also reflects on his skin. And I think this is something very future-oriented, so to say. And you were telling that Herbert von Karajan foresaw something similar, maybe? When people are like streamed in real size to another place. And I found this quite funny.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection. I mean, so what can one do with this technology? Can we actually take a performer in one venue and merge it then into a different kind of venue, and they perform with the orchestra only virtually together? Is this sort of where this is going then?
It could be, but I think here the aspect of the 3D model is missing. So if we would have to do it, if we want to do it live on a stage, you have to somehow, have to put steam up and have lasers there to have a 3D body. What is done on conferences or on concerts is that you are streamed, or your holograph is beamed on a 2D space. So that is already possible, but I'm not quite sure how far it is when it comes to 3D shapes.
Very interesting. Julia, can you imagine? Oops, my camera went off.
But we still hear
That's great.
Yeah, you can still hear me.
From a time before we were born, the television looked like this in the evening.
Julia, so as a performer yourself, can you imagine that you go into a studio, you get a 3D scan, and then your performances can be part of a game engine, and you are then, sort of part of a virtual performance? Is this something that you would find interesting as a performer yourself?
For sure. I mean, I'm really open up for this. It would be very interesting to try it out and to. I think it's more easier instead of standing on the stage and thinking everything should be perfect, and then you're just in a 3D version. Yeah, why not?
Okay, I'm focusing. I'm back with my video. Look, this is a real-time text support. Hello, good to see you again. We have another comment here that I want to show from Leslie Goldman Barrow. It's so important to expose youth to visual and performing arts. We are in an age, even pre-COVID, where there are no more school field trips to concerts and operas, to museums, no more instrument classes. I think this is an important aspect. Like, if you live in a city with, all of these opportunities, even pre-COVID times, then you have access to all of these performances. But if you live in a place that doesn't have a concert hall, an opera, a theater, how do you get in touch with this kind of cultural experience. And I think there we have a way to really reach many people who otherwise would not have been part of that classical music community. So thank you, Leslie, for your valuable comment there.
It's very valid, yeah. I think that also depends on what we discussed last time about the house concerts, about the live concerts and everything. It also depends on it.
Yeah,
I think the socioeconomic background is also important, because I think, Matthias, I would call you like someone intelligent or educated, but there are some underprivileged children, for example, who don't have access to a father that does music. So how do you think, how could we get everyone into music? Is there a way?
Well, I don't know if there is a way to get everyone. I think we need to try with whatever technology and whatever platforms we have available. Let's use those to the fullest extent. Maybe some of our viewers will cringe on that thought, but I believe that you can also have a wonderful musical experience on a platform such as Twitch or maybe even TikTok. I don't know. I think when it comes from the heart and is done with a positive intention, then this will find its audience as well. And so I believe we need to make sure that we create these touch points where people can interact with classical music, and then they will be drawn into this whole field. And this, I think, is the way to go. But I'm not saying it's the only way. And I think there are many others as well.
So becoming less elitist and more open to new ideas.
I think it's not a question of elitist. I think it's a question of how much time and energy and resources can you personally put into having a new experience. Some people will not be in a position to do that at first, but little by little they will grow into it, and they will with classical music they will have a companion for life, really. And that is, I think, a wonderful a situation. I don't know anyone who was into classical music at a certain age and then stopped liking it and abandoned it. I think it's a thing that stays with you in most cases for the rest of your life. But Thomas, you had some other things prepared as well.
And I tried to make a connection. That's why my question was so intentional, because they are like a companion for getting to know things about classical music, even if you are not that deep into classical music. It's all about shaping communities today at our conference, for example. And these two guys from Australia, Two Set Violin is their name, have gathered a following of 1.3 million YouTube subscribers. Let's have a short look at their channel. As you can see here, they try to jump on new trends, and they try to make classical music fun. What people want violinists to play. Musical whisper challenge, blind dating musicians, taking a break. If Paganini wrote All I Want for Christmas Is You. So they try to...
And where are they based?
In Australia.
That's called
okay.
a scale.
Which scale? Pick in the options below. The correct answer.
So they try to make it fun.
Wait till the end of the video and we'll tell you.
Oh my god. Anyway, today we are talking about scales. We are going to be ranking all your traditional Western tonality scales. And then we also have a few for the more tonally and harmonically enhanced.
Intellectual.
If you're not practicing scales, what are you even practicing? Oh, but I just want to play my pieces over and over again. And that's why you can never play on tune.
And that's why you suck. Just kidding.
Just kidding.
Okay, so they're trying to make it fun even when you're talking about scales, and so they are not making it boring. Maybe it's a way to get your children into music.
I don't know. I think there's something like this that has been around before. I mean, I'm thinking about Georg Kreisler, famous Austrian comedian, who was a classically trained pianist, great comedian, and who combined these two worlds. There are other examples of that as well, going back into the 50s and 60s of the last century. So it's not a new phenomenon. I think to do it on YouTube, that is new, definitely.
It's the global scale now. There's also this, I did not know this Mr. Chrysler. Sorry, maybe it's the most famous person on earth. But
no.
There's also, is he called Marek Lieberman? Or what is his name?
Karajan is the most famous person on earth. How could you?
Thank you,
Thomas?
Julia.
How
Thank
could you?
Who? This is a joke. But I like when people are connecting the comedy, as Julia did also now, being very funny, connecting comedy to music. Makes it even more interesting.
I mean, let's talk a little bit about opera. Julia, you are an opera singer. I think you can give us many examples of pieces by Mozart and others where comedy is part of the actual piece itself, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of, yes. Also in the symphony orchestras or in the symphony pieces. By Haydn has a lot of it in it, and all the Rossini operas. There's so many.
That's right. So
I mean, more the Italian operas. But I want to pick out some comment from Bartholomeus Henry van der Velde. We have to be careful with streaming culture. Wrong habits can install easy. Concert halls are built to make music. Music needs resonance space to be tasted in a good manner. I totally agree with you, but I think we have to be careful to combine streaming concerts with concerts in a concert hall or performances in an opera house, because it's totally different. Because you can't combine it, because the other thing is that you can at least see and hear some music at home, and the other thing is that it's the fully performance of everything, of the senses, of the music, of the audience, how you dress yourself and everything. And yeah, I think you can combine it, in my opinion.
I mean, I understand what the person is saying about if the question is this: if I experience classical music in a live stream for the first time and I like it, why would I then go and buy a concert ticket to actually hear a piece performed in a real concert hall? And I think that is of course a legitimate question. But I also believe if we look at examples like, for instance, in music or in sports even, when you make something available via a new channel, you actually create demand and interest. And I think it's that we're looking for. And we try to help people to really get a taste of what it could be like. And then perhaps they will also enjoy it in real life. Also, I believe there's something that I as a real person want, and then there's something that I as an online avatar want. And those are two different kinds of things.
Maybe also 17 different people inside you. So I think it's very hard to find this one person. But when it comes to the word resonate, you were reading about to resonate. I think that also means like to have some feedback. I saw some conferences online this year where they had LED screens and see all of their 500 viewers live online. Do you think there's a way for opera singers to get a feedback, or maybe a fake feedback by someone that is just playing applause so you feel better? Could that work? Is there a way to get the audience's feedback to you?
I mean, if I know that it's fake, then it doesn't really matter. I mean,
that's right. That's a good point.
I'm like, okay, I don't know about that.
But you know at least that someone is playing it with a keyboard. They're doing it on some TV shows, and sometimes you feel, okay, they're having different sets of intensity. So they're having a slow clap, but they're also having a very firing applause. And yeah, if you know that it's fake, maybe people have to vote how on a scale how much they like it, and then they will send it back to you.
There is a different level even there to this of fakeness. If you are on Twitch, which is platform for streaming of mostly games, but also now music and other content, then the audiences can send you these emotions in the stream, which are of course not real emotions. They are emotions of the avatars, but they are triggered by a real person. So it's a mix of real and fake emotion at the same time, and it's quite fun.
Yeah, and they can send you money, and at least if it's above $1,000, it's at least painful for your audience.
That's right. Great.
What you have next, Thomas?
The next one we got, it's a person, it's an idol of mine, and also I think an idol of Matthias. It's Imogen Heap, and she's now also doing live streams. And let's have a look at this. What you can't see here, she's also using comments of their users, and she tries to enhance the music with the ideas of the audience.
And she's wearing these interactive gloves. I think this is really interesting. So the gloves that she wears are connected to the computer, right?
That's right. And here she's talking about another initiative.
Imagine the possibilities.
You have to explain it, because the sound is very soft, and it's difficult for the audience to also read the subtitles. And so just go ahead and explain it, Thomas.
Yeah, I'm not that deep into her news project, but it's something like an idea for musicians to sell their data to music houses. I'm not quite sure, but it's a thing I have to investigate on.
Yeah, Imogen is very, very much into technology and using blockchains and data and sensors to make music. I think this is a really cool idea. The question for me is, can we imagine that a classically trained performer uses gloves to play, and then with the data streams created from these gloves, something else happens? I think that would be a cool experiment. I'm not.
It could be a 3D print of like her gestures. I think it's a very what's it called, haptic way maybe to experience an artist. So if you have like a crystal made out of the movements of your favorite artist, maybe you would like to buy it because it's a very unique physique and way the person is moving. That could be a good way maybe also to monetize what they are doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, maybe.
And
I had the question: how's the approach from a musician playing the music with it? How are your emotions during it? Or your thoughts why you're doing it, or why you're playing the music? That would be interesting.
Yeah, we will have to ask her. So maybe during the conference we'll get to talk to her.
But there's one thing I like about these gloves. These, I think, Mimi gloves, or what was the name? Mm-hmm. It's a bit like the theremin. You can play it very not without effort, but it's following your movements. So it's not like a violin where you have to train to find the right spot and to be very precise, but you can be more intentional and
more improvisation. Yeah, more improvisation.
Yeah, and that's the thing I like about music. That's also what I like about singing. Of course, if you want to sing as good as Julia, you have to train your voice very, very, very much. Have so many singing lessons, but it's at least a thing you can do on your own. But an instrument is always connected to some limitation because you have to learn it at first. If it's not the keyboard, you also have to learn the keyboard, but there at least you can have some kind of music coming out without knowing how to play it. So the entry level at least is low, but then it's a steep curve. So the next person we are going to mention is Marty Fisher, and he is using his voice as an instrument in this next example. Please, Nikolai, show the.
Boah,
einigen Tagen ein kleines Logic-Update gemacht. Auf einmal hat sich Logic geupdatet und dann erschien das. Es ist der Quick Sampler. Auf dem Bild.
Logic. Just have with
I've been thinking about what you had done to me. Jetzt gehen wir in den Slice-Modus. Been thinking about so in der Art.
So everything you hear is from his voice now? Thomas, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's everything. Everything you were hearing was done by his voice and the quick sampler in Logic. And I think he demonstrated very well what is capable if you're using what is doable if you're using Logic and other programs and interact with your voice. Yeah. It made me want to get to know how to use this music program.
I'm shocked. This is like, is it possible to make music with your own voice? And I mean, I know of compositions where this is done offline, but what I find really interesting here is that apparently he is composing in front of his audience. So he's like streaming the compositional process to everyone. Is that what's happening here?
He did not put out a stream. It was a video, so it was a condensed video of about 15 minutes, and I condensed it even more. He was not doing it live, but it's a thing that could be done live. There are YouTubers that are doing that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. What else do you got?
Let me see. Oh yeah, it's a thing. The last thing is a little. Let's call it a joke. It's something you can use to get back your colleagues if you're missing them now during COVID. It's a website called The Sound of Colleagues. And now let's imagine a time before 2020 and listen to it. Isn't that great? Having the coffee machine.
Oh, so you can create your own soundscape.
Yeah.
Open the window.
Need this to concentrate. Maybe you should also have a colleague that's like always complaining.
We don't have those colleagues in the Karajan Institute.
Yeah, of course.
Now I know that why you're always in the hotel. You miss the good old times when there were people around. Great. Thank you very much, Thomas.
Yes.
This was fun. This was unexpected. There was some really nerdy stuff in there too. So I hope everyone enjoyed that.
And next time we should put out a link list that's a learning for us, so you can all follow what we were talking about.
Yes, we will do that. Actually, let's find a way to get this out to everyone on the social media channels and keep the discussion going. We heard some really good points from you out there watching our live stream, in particular on Facebook. I know there are also people watching on YouTube. So we're always happy to engage with you and also in between our live streams. Now, we're coming closely to the end, and we thought that because it is Carnival, or supposed to be Carnival, I don't know, no one's really celebrating it, we thought that we're going to try out something But I don't know if it's going to happen because the technology has been flaky on my end today.
This is my carnival mask.
So Thomas has a carnival mask. I will try to put mine on as well. Wait, I need to. And if it doesn't work.
During that, I want to invite you all for next week live session we will have, and that will be a really, really interesting topic about online audition. I think that will be really interesting.
This is my my carnival costume for you today. And I'm looking at the camera right now, but this Mona Lisa is never looking into the camera. So there you
Matthias,
go.
could you try the eyeliner again like last yeyear?
No, I will not do you that. I'll not do that.
You were looking like a raccoon.
You want a little bit of my lipstick?
Well, friends, this was a true delight. I want to thank you all for joining us today for what is an ongoing experiment in the Karajan Institute to reach new audiences, reach the visionaries and decision makers in music and technology. And we can't wait to see you all online for the Karajan Music Tech Conference, March 22nd to 26th. Please come to our website and let us know if you're interested in joining. www.karajanmusictech.com. And I want to thank my lovely colleagues, Thomas and Julia, for being here with us. And also Nikolai, who is in the background. You don't see him, but he is all the tech for us. So thank you, everyone.
Yes, everything.
Thank you. And see you next Tuesday. Bye.
See you next Tuesday.
Bye to Spain, Argentina, Mexico, to all over the world.
Yes, and West Coast and East Coast. And it's so good to see you all.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
good morning. Bye-bye.
Have a good working day now.
Yes. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.